Love so deeply that you discover the sacred in the mundane, the beauty in the horror, and the glory in the brokenness. To me, that is humanity. All of these are my pieces. Yes. So we're going to use these to tell the story. So this is really the thesis of what I want to share with you today. To me, grounded, practical luminosity is the ability to be with the complete picture, not just the light. It's the gray, the black, the white, all of it, because that's where we are. Humanity is still in a dichotomy. We are still in duality. There's no escaping that. You can talk non-dualism all you want, but the reality is we are evolving. And to evolve, we must love the shadow. So here's another one, and this is a lesson that came through when I was really deep in the shadow and I didn't want to be there and I didn't like it. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just pull up a chair to whatever emotion I don't want to be with in that moment and ask it what it has to say. And quite often it was pain in general. And so this came through. We are taught to evade pain, yet our deepest discomforts are the doorway to liberation. And I brought a friend to acknowledge the journey that I've been on with this. This is my first MA thesis. It's from 2006. I was 24 years old when I wrote this. It is titled The Wounded Healer, a heuristic exploration of re-traumatization anxiety. Now, what's fascinating about this paper is I was just starting to really get into clinical psychology in that degree. And I was really into Jung. And there is astrology in here. There's near-death experiences. There's art processing the wounds. This paper is when I became ill. I was comatose shortly thereafter. What's fascinating is this process, this heuristic research modality, is very much what I've been doing here, but now with written words. So all things full circle. If you would have asked me at 24, would I be standing here at an NDE conference talking to you about these things? I would have never guessed that. But here we are. And so it's so beautiful that in a way, Spirit wrote me a love note through my younger self to be with you here now and to really honor the journey and the wound. And I do use heuristic explorations quite often. And it's not a narcissism or like a need to focus on myself. It's quite the opposite. I can't be subjective about myself. But I'm always with me, just like you're always with your thoughts. And so the best work I can do is the work I do for myself. And then that has the ripple effect on the collective. And so for me, in psychology, they were always talking about validity, reliability, and things really clean scientifically. But the heuristic process allows you to own your humanity. It allows you to say, this is me, this is the whole. Let's look at the lived experience. And for those of us that are interested in the mystical, lived experience is what we're studying. It is the phenomenon that we're looking at. And I know no better way to do that than through the window of my own soul. There's another one. Embody the unbroken amidst the beautiful mess of being human. Honor the dichotomy, for you are both. So one thing I like to do when I'm going through these portals of growth is to really allow myself to talk through mind, body, or spirit. Okay, so quite often my mind will be doing its job. It will be defensive posturing and telling me, oh man, you're gonna eat it. Don't just download it. You need to have it all planned out. That's my mind's job. My mind is there to protect me. So it's doing its job. So I simply say, thank you. On the other hand, I know my soul. I know my soul comes through the mess and is always there for me. So I can have faith in it. I can trust that it will deliver. And then there's the body, the physical vessel that's been so compromised so many times through this incarnation. And yet it communicates in a symphony. I've really seen my illnesses as a symphony of song from spirit, because every time I've become physically ill, I've come out of it stronger. And not once has it actually killed me when they've said that it was going to over and over again. So there's that too. Sorry, I get really dehydrated from the energy medicine. And on that note, death saved my life, yet breathing dead tires even the most resilient. Anybody that's a complex trauma survivor probably gets that one. The more you go through it, Everyone's like, you're so strong, you're so strong. It's not because we want to be strong, guys. We're strong because we didn't have a choice. So resilience is kind of a side effect of trauma. It's not necessarily something we seek. So, and all of these, if you like any of these, you can follow me on my Instagram account, which is at Brooke Grove Writing. They're all up there and plenty more. So this one came through when I was going through a pretty bad, complex post-traumatic stress episode, and I didn't want to write, which happens quite often. So what I do is I write my way through the block. I write about what I don't want to write about or why I'm mad at writing or whatever. So anyway, I wanted to write about what it felt like, and I couldn't get it. So this is what came out. I illustrate how a lifetime feels in a somatic prison, yet I cannot. The words are still serving central nervous system time. Every attempt I make at jailbreak lengthens their dysregulated sentence. No, let's cut the psycho-spiritual BS. I am caged by the terror of my own inadequacy. And that for me, that's it. I mean, my soul wants to come out and say something pretty and give you poetry. That's just how it is. But my human was like, nope, pick me. And with writing, just like with any other type of healing, you always want to go to the strongest emotion. Because if you go to that emotion, it's going to be visceral, it's going to be raw, it's going to be healing, it's going to be cathartic. And what's beautiful about that is it typically will resonate with someone else because it has all those qualities. This one was fun. This is the other side of it. This is when I was having a day where I really was feeling the light, even though I was in the shadow spot. I knew that I was going through something and I was being held. And so this one, longing for sunshine in the burn of darkness, I found redemption right where I lost it. This ancient heart sparks beauty on the brink. If I had to sum up my life, that would be it. Okay. All of these difficult scenarios, all these lived experiences, I wouldn't wish upon any of you. Okay. And yet I have this ability to be a magnet for the light in the dark. And I have the ability to do that for other people and to hold that for other people. And that is really what carried me when I started getting sicker and sicker, when I woke up and I was intubated again, unable to communicate again. There was so much anger, okay, so much anger. And yet at the same time, there were my guides and my knowing that whatever was triggering this, the why didn't really matter. What mattered was where it would take me. You know, there were periods where I was like, I should call IANDS, tell them I can't talk. They don't know I'm in the hospital. They don't, it's impossible. I'm going to get there in September. And there was this other voice that was like, no, you'll be able to fly. You'll be there. You'll be walking. You'll be breathing. You won't need medication. And I'm just like, yeah, that's really cute. You're cute. You're cute, spirit. But here I am. So they are right. And I have learned the hard way to just trust them and let my mind get out of my way a little bit. Let's see. This is core programming. I am weak from all the things I used to believe. That really, in summation, talks about what I've gone through multitudes of times with embodying my gifts. Because there's still such a resistance from the ego mind and from certain parts of me that want to still be the clinician or the therapist or the academic. And it's not necessarily in resonance to who I am. I still grieve those parts at times and I still embody them at times. And sometimes those beliefs work against me, you know, specifically pathology, you know, with going through post-traumatic stress over and over and over, it's very easy to stigmatize yourself as broken. And instead of seeing that brokenness as this beautiful opportunity for growth, to just kind of ruminate and live in that space. But for me, just simply giving my ego, my mind, the freedom to express it allows me then to heal it. So that's essential for me. Raw, so I may breathe fresh consciousness into mind, body, and soul and never hide again. We cover so much up trying to forget the pleasure of being naked. This one's important to me. In 2012, I went to my first IANDS conference. I believe it was in Scottsdale. I had family there. And so I was like 2 years out of coma, fresh in my after effects, did not know I was pregnant with my firstborn, who is intuitive. So I was picking up some of his gifts too, which was a trip. I was completely ungrounded. I had no idea how to use my skills yet. And they were talking about the 2012 prophecies with some Mayan elders and a bunch of people on the front stage. And my gifts went electric. I went into the experiencers lounge and I attempted to talk to people, but I couldn't even articulate my words and got triggered even more by the energy, ran out of that Hilton crying. Okay. So for it to be 2022 and me standing here speaking to you guys about this, it's kind of a trip. But what has happened in that trajectory of time is I left clinical psychology. I stopped wearing the white coat. I dropped all the titles. I discovered that really my core is as an artist, and that's what I'm here to be. And that my message is through spirit. And if I trust the divine to come through, then I don't need to plan and really articulate in an academic way. And not only that, I mean, I used to hide like in certain corners to like, you know, do my clearing rituals and all the things I need to do to be grounded in this type of vibration. Prior to coming in here, I was sitting out there doing energy medicine, clearing the whole, I don't care anymore. This is me. Take it, leave it, love it. Don't. I So, and thank you, YouTube, for helping me with that, because your comments are entertaining sometimes. But this is the reality. I want it all. I came back, every single one of you that came back, we came back for this holy experience. And a couple interviews have called me out recently because I say hard and holy a lot in my writing. But to me, that's it. That's the practical oneness. It's the hard and holy humanity. It's all of it. You cannot have one without the other. And so that pleasure of being naked, it really, to me, comes down to the visceral, raw humanity. You show me how someone's soul bleeds or sings. You show me love. You show me truth. You show me something I can resonate with. And it is all about resonance. That's why we're all here, because we have that for each other, for the experience, for the mystical. And so the pleasure of being naked, the pleasure of being authentic, the pleasure of being transparent, the pleasure of being embodied as someone who has floated out of their body since they were a small child due to trauma, and then has NDEs and STs and goes out all the time and basically wants to live in those upper etheric chakras. It's a glorious thing to actually be on the ground in the physical vessel here with you at this pivotal time in the evolution of human consciousness. I mean, it's exciting. So thank you for doing this holy earth walk with me. Our feelings know the secret. We did not come here to make sense. We came here to make sensations. So to me, this is really important. I have been told my whole life that my beliefs and my way of being don't make sense. And I fought it. I wanted to be the doctor. I wanted to be the clinician. I wanted to understand. I wanted to be articulate. But I didn't come here for those things. I came here to feel, and I came here to express those feelings and to help other people who may not have that voice open their voice and express it. So sensations are it, vibrations, sensations, frequency. It's so important, all of it. But you can't get into lofty spirituality with that. You have to embody it. So those sensations are nothing if we're not pulling them down into the physical vessel. And that's so paramount. So we're always in a quest, in a way, of embodying and being open to allowing, receiving, softening to whatever comes through, but not bypassing either. So it's a delicate dance because we don't want to get lost in it, but we want to really express it and feel it. This, I think, is in relationship to really this collective and the groups that I work with. Cry with me through open eyes. We are the seers of these times. We really are. That's why you're all here. And this is what spirit really has activated us for. You know, I've reframed my recent health opportunity as an upgrade. to my system because its illness is the way that my system likes to upgrade. That's just the way it is. And so we're just going to accept that. But I learned something so profound from each and everything. Case in example, I had to be on prednisone, like a lot of prednisone, the past, I don't know, year for the asthma, for the lung failures. Prednisone makes you puff up and it makes you gain weight and it makes you moody, like super moody. You don't want to give a moody person prednisone. Like, I feel bad for my children. Yet one thing it did that also is because of a weight gain, like gaining 10 pounds, I started learning, wow, I could have just used gaining a little bit of weight to keep me more grounded. So simple. Never occurred to me. All right. The mystical matrimony of the known and unknown in human consciousness is a mysterious bliss discovered while dancing in between. We are walkers between worlds. That is what we are, and that is what we do. And there was a very long time during my reintegration where I kind of would dip my foot in this pool and dip my foot in this pool. But I just wouldn't admit that I belonged here, you know? And the in-between is my tribe, and it's all good. And there is this ebb and flow between what we know and what we hold sacred and what we consider eternal and the infinite and what we don't know and what spirit hasn't revealed, and that potentiality. And that is this beautiful divine portal that exists only in the in-between. So instead of now, tiptoeing to one or the other, I'm just owning that that's where I live. And it's a great place to live because in that space, anything can happen. It was messy, yet it was authentic and beautiful. The mess became my prayer. That's been a sort of mantra through this whole thing, knowing that every single aspect is reverent. Every aspect is essential. You can't take one thing away and have the whole. I sincerely believe my shadow is as brilliant, if not more radiant than my light. Because my shadow has found a way to continually evolve and teach me things my intellect and my heart and my spirit don't really have the capacity for. So in a way, I bow down and serve my shadow because it allows me to amplify and share my light. If I were still talking about my light in relationship to the NDE in 2010, I'm sorry, but in my humble opinion, y'all get bored. I'd get bored. I'm already bored telling this story, to be honest, because you've told it so many times, it gets to that point. I'm much more interested in what does a person do after a mystical experience? How do they embody it? How do they articulate those changes? And then how do they continue to grow? To me, that's the medicine of the mystical experience. It is what you do with it that matters. And if it's messy and it's human, then it's probably all the more healing. So be with that, be with the shadow, be with the pain, be with it all. This one's really important to me, and then we'll just talk a little bit more. This came out just last week. Awakening is not the destination, it is the beginning. Radical embodiment is the journey. And that really summarizes what I just said, but it's so essential. I work with mystical experience. The majority of people that are reaching out to me have either just had a profound mystical experience, spiritually transformative experience, near-death experience, or they've had trauma and they want to look at it from a spiritual lens. I cannot tell you the number of times that people reach out and all they want is to have like an out-of-body experience or some phenomenon, and they're chasing it. They're looking for the opportunity of it because they think it's going to take them somewhere. Because we process this and we go into it, but it's not the experience that's essential. It's that energy. It's the being able to go up into these higher portals of self. And that is the invitation. It's not where we're supposed to live. Spirit gives us access to these places to remind us who we are at our core and who we are here to serve and what we are an expression of, which is love. And so we're given these beautiful windows within our energetic field and our heart and our heart chakra in particular. I mean, that's 6 feet out in all directions, everywhere you go. The heart is constantly emitting that energy. And so it's super important to know that you start taking these portals within, you start doing that work, that light, that energy becomes part of your field. Every person you talk to, every time this mic comes in and out, it doesn't matter because you're responding to me as a light, as a person, as an embodiment of it, more than what you're listening to. It's the energy, the reciprocation of the energy. And so it's very important when we talk about mystical experiences to understand that they are a portal, that they are an invitation, but it really is just the beginning of something.